There's a reason why bulking is one of the most popular muscle building strategies ever. Simply put, it works. So in this video, we'll break down what bulking is, when's the best time to do it, and how to bulk to make sure you build muscle without adding too much fat. Hi, I'm PictureFits. I make health and fitness videos to help you in all things health and fitness. Bulking, in simple terms, is a dietary plan aimed to increase your body weight, which means I've been bulking for about 5 consecutive years, totally intentional. Bulking is arguably the most popular muscle building strategy because gaining weight means eating more than your body needs, which means providing a consistent surplus of nutrients to your muscles. In other words, to build new muscle, you need to have new building blocks, i.e. nutrients, and bulking gives you that and more. Of course, building muscle also indisputably requires stimulation, a funky physiological way of saying you need to exercise. Bulking plus exercise equals tighter shirt sleeves. Let's now jump into when you should decide to bulk. Finding out when first requires that you make sure that bulking is indeed what you want to do. Bulking is not meant for people that want to build muscle while maintaining their current weight. That's more so maintenance or recomp, which a video about that will be linked below if you're interested. Also, bulking will not only increase muscle mass, but because of the weight-gaining nature of it, it will increase your fat mass. If you want to avoid that, then bulking might not be for you. However, there are ways to mitigate fat gain, which we'll cover later. With now knowing about the fat gain predicaments, it's clear that bulking becomes increasingly relevant the less body fat you have. This is ideal in both a physique and health standpoint. Muscle with less body fat is more visually pronounced than higher body fat, and excessively high body fat carries cardiometabolic risks. With that said, a good time to start thinking about bulking is when you're lower than 15% and 22% body fat for males and females respectively. Now, this isn't a hard cap. If you have goals beyond just physical appearance, like getting stronger, then body fat percentage might be a lower priority, although again, it should be managed for your health. If your goal is mainly physique-oriented, for anyone new to bulking, I would recommend you consider cutting or maintenance first if you're closer to that 15 and 22% body fat. Cutting and maintenance can help bring that fat down, while also in some cases still build muscle. If you decide to bulk after a cut or maintenance, then you have more to work with. Now, for any reason you cannot get a good reading of your body fat percentage, a somewhat decent alternative is using the listed categories from calculating your body mass index. If your BMI falls into the first half of the normal category or lower, then you can consider bulking. Now, BMI isn't perfect, especially the more muscle you have, but for those just starting out, BMI is better than nothing and does have a reasonable correlation to body fat percentage. Of course, the not so great tool you can use is a mirror. Obviously, there's a lot of subjectivity here. However, if it is abundantly clear that you can benefit from having more muscle and your body fat doesn't appear to be an issue, then the mirror might be enough. But do try to use the previous methods to quantify your opinion when you can. Whatever tools you end up using, if you come to the careful, concrete conclusion that it is time for you to bulk, then let's move on to the how-to and get things started. As mentioned in the beginning, bulking will need to be paired with exercise to build muscle. Now, I won't be diving heavily into exercise in this video and focus more on just bulking, but for the most part, you will follow the ever-popular training strategy known as progressive overload, which is largely measured through increases in training volume. Again, more links to everything will be provided below. But to quickly echo what we know in the current science, for bulking, you want to train about 3 to 5 times a week, target each muscle group 2 times a week, aim for roughly 2 to 4 sets of 6 to 12 reps for each exercise, prioritize compound exercises, take each set close to failure with occasionally reaching failure, and gradually increase volume over time. Feel free to also look through the resources in the PictureFit community Discord and ask questions there if you need more help. But finally, the how-to of bulking. The essential element of bulking is creating a calorie surplus. The number of calories you consume must be consistently higher than the number of calories you burn. The slightly tricky part is how you achieve said calorie surplus. Yes, you can technically build muscle simply by exercising and eating whatever you want and however much you want as long as you're in a surplus. However, you might put on weight too quickly with this uncontrolled, dirty type of bulking, which has the bigger consequence of putting on more fat quickly. Instead of this, you want to have some structure to your bulking. First and foremost, you need to get enough protein, the nutrient that provides the building blocks for muscle growth. Typically, you want to aim for about 1.6 grams of protein per kilogram of body weight per day. A little bit more or less is fine as long as you are consistent and your protein source doesn't really matter if you get close to this figure. However, you ideally want to eat mostly whole foods, but eating processed high-calorie foods for the sake of reaching your calorie goals will be fine on occasion. Speaking of calorie goals, to avoid all the dirtiness, try to maintain a 300 to 500 calorie daily surplus. If you never calculated your calories before, you can start with a calorie calculator linked below, which will shoot out your maintenance calories, and your goal will be to eat 300 to 500 calories above that figure. You can measure your food calories using one of the many calorie counting apps available. Again, this 300 to 500 range is not a hard cap. You can eat more if you're not putting on much muscle and less if you're gaining fat too quickly. Just keep in mind that more calories mean more fat and fewer calories mean less nutrients, which potentially means less muscle. Adjust accordingly. By following these specific steps, you end up with something known as lean bulking. My bulking of choice when I finally decide to intentionally bulk. As far as when to stop bulking, remember that you want to avoid a high body fat percentage. Around 22% and 28% for males and females respectively is probably a good time to stop, but once again, this is not a hard cap. You can end your bulk sooner, especially if you're satisfied with your muscle growth. Some even use strength goals to determine a good time for them to change course. And of course, the course to consider coursing through after bulking will be maintenance or cutting. And that's it for bulking. I hope you found this video helpful and I wish you the best in your bulking endeavors. Remember, any topics and strategies mentioned in this video will be linked in the description. Check those out if you need it. Other than that, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a bulky thumbs up and share it with your muscle-loving friends. Let me know what you think about the video in the comments and subscribe for more. As always, thank you for watching and don't forget to get your protein.